Hi, this is Ryan with Generational Talk. It's definitely been a very emotional week since the murder of George Floyd. In the following video, we get together a group of mothers to basically share their thoughts and concerns in response to what's basically been happening for decades now.
Hi, my name is Deja G. I am a mother of three, a 12-year-old son, a 7-year-old daughter, and a almost 3-year-old daughter.
Hi, my name is Kwan. I am a mother of four boys, nine, one who's about to be 7, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
My name is Demetrius. I am a mother of an 18-year-old son. Only have one child.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joya, and I have a 10-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter.
So, have everyone seen the recent video of George Floyd, right?
Yeah.
I just kind of want to start off and just getting your thoughts about it. Like, what do you think? How do you feel? Um, we can discuss, how can we move forward, and your fears of raising your children, specifically your sons in this time period.
Well, to be honest, I really didn't. I heard about the story, but I couldn't watch the whole video. Just seeing the pictures and what everybody was posting and saying, that was enough right there. Because me raising my son, I worry about him every single day he leaves the house. And so I just can't imagine what that guy went through. Um, you know, this. I mean, I don't know how to say it. What he just went through, I just don't want or see my child go through anything like that. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I agree. I actually have, for the past 4 nights, haven't really been able to. It's been kind of like moments of unrest, not really having good sleep. And my son is 10, and he's very outspoken, very aware of the things that are going on. And you can see that those things that he sees on the news really bother him. And the biggest question that he always asks is, what did we do? What do we as a people do to deserve this? And as a mother, it's kind of hard to hear those things from your kids, because the only thing that you can respond and say is, I don't know. It's just people out there that are just hating for no reason. It's people out there that, you know, they don't care about the well-beings of just a specific group of people. What can you really say? How can you really explain it? It's been happening for so long. It's almost kind of like our culture has become conditioned to, a group of people are not just going to like you for you being you, for you having melon in your skin. I call people without melon unhued people, and it's not just here in America. It's across the world. You
Right.
see people, how they treat a lot of people, like in India. I know that I watched some TikToks, because I don't know if you guys have gotten into it, but since I've been home, I didn't even really know what TikTok was. But I got a new phone, and it came across my phone, and I started watching some videos, and I was seeing videos where there were light-skinned Indian people almost wearing blackface, and they were saying that, to wear blackface is to be bad, or if you're lighter, the lighter you are, the better you are. And so I know it's not just here in the United States. It's like it's all over the world. And it's kind of like, what do you do, or what can you do to prove that you're just as good, or you know just the same as everyone else? We're all a part of, like, the human race, not just like black or white. It's just hard to explain.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that I'm, wondering, like, why are we such a threat? What makes us such a threat? Because, we speak differently from you, or, we have different backgrounds or upbringings than you. We, what makes us such a threat? Especially those who were unarmed. They were complying, they weren't resisting, and what's the issue? you know and that's my major concern there. Like, how do I teach my boys to present themselves in a way that they won't be threatened, be looked at as a threat, or that the cops won't fear them, just being themselves. We can't raise them to be robots. We want them to have their personality. We want them to be comfortable, being who they are. And we're being punished for that. So that's
But to be honest, I had this discussion with a friend, and what he said, it made a lot of sense. He was like, well, if you notice, they're not targeting the Black boys that seem like a threat, who are out there in the streets, who are driving a particular car, who looks like they can actually retaliate. They are looking at the people who are minding their own business, doing what we tell our kids to do. Just don't look guilty. Just walk. If you walk down the street, don't even just look like you're suspicious. And those are the ones that they're targeting. Like how we treat, I bet they're not targeting the ones who look like they will shoot back or they will fight back.
I mean, honestly, it shouldn't be targeting.
Advantage, and I know a lot of people. I have a lot of friends who of different races. Like, of course, I don't discriminate at all. I love everybody, and people who have not experienced our struggle does not see it as a race issue, and I can only respect their opinion or their feelings about it because that's not their struggle.
Right.
And so even when I talked to one of my friends who happens to be white about it, also, she was like, I just see it as an unfortunate event where someone lost their life. And I'm like, yeah, that's completely understandable. But just from seeing the patterns throughout the years from slavery on back to when our parents had to deal with segregation and, experience where they can't even go into a certain restaurant because we were banned, I'm like, it's things that we were raised up learning about our own culture and how people approach different situations and how people got killed back then from Martin Luther King all back in the day, and it's traveling on to now. And it's like, what do we do from here? And how do we tell our kids, at the same breath we're telling them you need to have faith in God, don't live in fear, but at the same time you have to be cautious, and if you see a cop, show your hands, make sure. It's like you're telling them live in fear without living in fear. We're confusing our kids.
It's a tough situation. It really is, because they should be able, we should be able to freely just live our lives and not have to walk on eggshells every time we go out or whatever. And so and going back to what you were saying, like, where does it go from here? I honestly believe that, I see a lot of division among us. I've known some people who, of our color, just, defend the cops just as much as they are, they're defending the victim, or, but we need to know how to act, and, or, they don't know how to act, or he may have been doing this or that, or not complying and resisting, and just taking up for the cop or whatever. And
but I in agreement to you, I feel like that's an unfair and an unjust way to view things. I mean, everybody has their own point of view, but how can you tell somebody how to act when you see another group of people storm like a governmental building with guns in their hands? Like, they're coming looking for violence almost, because what does the gun signify? It signifies violence,
Yeah.
So you say, don't be a threat, but these men are coming up here with threatening intent, right? With threatening intent, and it's almost kind of like, okay, so if it was, a group of Black men doing that, how far would they even get past the
right?
And in conversations like that, it really gets me heated. And then let's think about our lives outside of this. Are you able to function at work? Are you able to, kind of do things like that? Because we have so many burdens that are kind of weighing on us just because of things that are happening in our society that cause us grief. Because when we look at them, we're looking at our brothers, we're looking at our uncles, we're looking at our sons. We're looking at these people, and because they don't look like, I guess the people that are saying they don't believe in racism, it's because these people that are getting killed or hurt don't look like them. And I think that in itself is where the detachment comes from them. They're detached from the situation because they don't see themselves in these situations. They don't see themselves in these struggles. So for them, it's not real.
Right.
And that hurts too. That hurts that, we are people crying out, and, it's almost kind of like you scrape your knee and then your mom is telling you, you're not hurt. They see blood coming out of your knee. They see the bones are broken, but they're not going to take you to the hospital because to them, it's not them that's being hurt. It's not them that's being injured. So they're saying they can't feel the pain. So they're saying, hey, you're not hurt. You're not hurt. You can go and run this race like we are. We've given you these opportunities. We've given you, all these avenues. You need to keep going.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, because oh, sorry. Yeah, even though they sympathize, because I have a lot of friends who voice their opinions and who, plainly says on social media, this is not right. It's disgusting how he handled the situation. And like I said, I love my friends for that, for standing up for us. And it's, you can sympathize, but the empathy is a little bit deeper. It's a little bit different when you empathize with a person because you can feel that hurt and you can see, you're looking at a man you don't know, but you can actually see his skin color and say that, that's my brother. Like you said, that's my uncle. That can be my son there.
Right.
And it's scary. It's scary. And then you see now a lot of people are really showing their true colors when they're making these comments, because there have been a lot of people getting fired from their jobs for making lewd comments saying, well, he's a black person, so he probably did do something wrong. And these niggers need to go here. Excuse my language. They need to go here. They need to go there. And it's like, wow, y'all working in hospitals. Y'all are working at places where you have to deal with a lot of people of color and different races. This is how you feel? Like, this is how you honestly feel, and you're willing to just like...
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's overwhelming. It's very
I
overwhelming.
wanted to cry just reading certain things that people were sharing about how people feel about us and how it's so, it's all these stereotypes,
But get this, if a person calls a cat a dog for over a period of time, they're going to start to label that as a dog, even though it's a cat. If you continue to say, okay, these people are thugs, these people are criminals, these people are degenerates, people, regardless of if they want to or not, are going to look at you and be like, oh, you're a thug, you're a criminal, you're a degenerate, because that's the place or the spot that they keep putting us in. They keep saying that these are the things. They don't see us as professionals all the time, and I have friends of all backgrounds and all colors, races, whatever you want to say, ethnicities, and we know the things that we are brought up and how we're taught, and the conversations that we have in our households about make sure that you always do your best, because you have to be your best in order to be considered on the playground.
You have to overcompensate.
You have to overcompensate.
It's just like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, what conversations are they having with their kids? What conversations are they having with their kids about us? And I think the conversation needs to start at home. I made a post where I feel like we do have allies. Don't get me wrong. We have allies that are different, ethnicities and races. But when our allies ask us, how can they help? We need to tell them that you need to have conversations with your kids about how not to stereotype Black men and Black women. You need to have conversations with your kids and let them know that we're all a part of one race, and that's the human race. It's not that, they're Black and they're considered thugs, or they might steal, or majority of them go to prison. You know, we've been labeled that, and because we've been labeled that, people have treated us in such a way, following us around in stores. As soon as something happens, if it's a group of us, you're automatically guilty until proven innocent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like our trial, like what just happened, the trial is right there on the streets. We don't even get a chance to go into the courtroom.
Right.
You know? We don't. And
I
it's not
have a question, like, do you think we, kind of, do we profile a certain race, like with the, the mass shootings and all of that stuff? Do we talk a lot about, or talk to our kids, or automatically just profile them as much as they do us? Someone who's looking kind of, like in the store, like a trench coat, or looking, what I'm saying? Yeah,
It depends, because I mean, like, racism does work both ways. It works all ways. It's not just the racism against the Black community, of course. So yeah, sometimes you will have Black people that they'll look at a white person or anybody else of any kind of race and say, oh, they look suspicious, or they look like they'll do this. Because I mean, how about when 9/11 happened? Everybody was looking at Iran people differently after that. So I mean, it happens, and people might do it. Some people might do it, without even noticing it. And some people do it intentionally and try to start a pick a fight. But then at the end of the day, we do that to our own race also. We're killing ourselves as well. It's like we are given
the biggest
a reason to stereotype us, because sometimes, like the whole event that happened at Myrtle Beach, like once they open it up, here comes shootings and everything. If y'all know if we know how to act sometimes, So I mean, it all depends. I mean, I think it happens all around across the board.
Well, I would label that as there is a such thing as like racial bias, which we all kind of have that,
Yeah.
we think, this race is good at this, or these group of people do this or that, so that is just something that is human nature.
Human nature.
We're actually taught that. We're taught that, because if you look at kids on the playground, it doesn't matter what color you are. When my kids were young, they always used to try to bring friends home. They just met them on the playground, like, this is my friend.
Right.
Like, you just met them. How are they your friends? We associate friends differently, but kids don't. They see somebody that's their age. They see somebody that likes the same thing that they like. They want to play with them. And it's not until they get older and the world is telling them, okay, this person is this, or this person is smarter than you, or this person knows math more than you. It's almost kind of like, even when you compare like women to men, men are supposed to be this way and women are supposed to be this way. So we all have some type of like bias, in that aspect. But I know a lot of times we always talk about how we're supposed to act, what we're supposed to do, but yes, we are supposed to conduct ourselves in certain ways, but we are not the only group of people that get reckless, that get ruthless. There are just as many white people that go down to Daytona Beach or, Miami Beach and act just the same way that we do. But for some reason, it's like when it becomes our stuff, it's like we're always looked at as, once again, rowdy thugs. But when they flip over cars and burn things, it's not looked at the same. It's just looking at a bunch of kids having a good time.
That's true.
So true. How do we change that perception? We need to look at ourselves differently. We need to not call ourselves, acting out of character. Why can't we say it's a bunch of kids down there having a good time? So they already have police down there ready and waiting for when we act, So I don't know how to change that narrative. I think that's a narrative that we need to kind of deal with ourselves. I don't know.
I teach my son not to look at color. I mean, everybody's equal. He has more white friends than he has Black friends. And the same thing, me growing up in school, I hung out more with the white people than I did with my own people. But
So,
I don't look at the outside person. If you treat me a certain way, and I get along with you or whatever, then we got a bond. But some of our own people that we hang around with, they don't even treat us. They don't treat us right, you know. So sometimes our own people can, you know, treat us differently, and you don't want to be around those type of people. It's nothing against it, but sometimes other races treat you better than your own, you know. But like I said, I teach my son not to look at color. He's equal to anybody else. He can go out and get the same education, the same job as any other race, you know. And when he leaves the house, he knows that when he leaves here, he represents our family. He knows how to, you know, act. And I'll tell him, I say, there's a community, and we, you know, we have a village around here. I got eyes watching you. You know, so if somebody outside of here that I know that trust and they see you doing something you're not supposed to be doing, they have my permission to approach you, contact me, and, you know, let me know what you did, you know, whatever you was doing. But like I said, I just try to teach them to be just not look at color.
And I think, you know, too, that for so many years we've been taught, you know, like in schools, only been taught the bad, the negative, you know, part of our history. You know, the only thing they teach in school, slavery, civil rights movement. It's not taught that, you know, Black people were prosperous at one time, that we came from royalty and all of that stuff. So I think us being taught so many years, just all of the negative, it just got like in our minds that we're thugs, we're this, we're that, we're worthless, you know. And I think that needs to be taught more. You know, I know Ryan and I, especially Ryan, he makes sure that he teach our boys, you know, that we were prosperous, you know, we were successful, we came from royalty, kings, queens, you know. So being taught the right type of history plays a big part too. And I think there's just a lot of hurt that has, you know, been passed down from generation to generation. And so, you know, we're just a hurt race, you know, and so we hurt each other and we just don't know where we came from. So
I had that discussion with a group of friends before, that I think that our race really has PTSD. Like we never dealt with it. Like we never dealt with the hurt, because it's almost kind of like generational things that were passed down from, even if it's like, even from the food that we eat. I mean, now I think our generation has learned, you know, different things, but back in the day, that's all they had. You know, we were given pig intestines and, you know, things like that. So that's all we had, you know. So those kind of health things were passed down from generation to generation. Well, now we are learning how to, you know, some of these things weren't good for us. So let's focus on more of the things that are more healthier for us. So just like that, I think some of the even being a strong Black woman to trying to support your family, you know, during, you know, times of separation of the family, because there were often times where, you know, we could not show our weakness because we had to get up and keep going. You know, our family was separated. And there were times even in the 60s and 70s where we couldn't get housing, or we couldn't provide for our families, because they said if you had a man in a home, then we wouldn't be able to help or support you. So where did that kind of broke down our family ties, because we're like, oh, I want my children to be able to have a safe place to live and eat. So I got to kick my man out. You know, so I mean, even stuff like that back in the days that people don't talk about, like the hurt and the generational things that have occurred that get us to the point where we are today. And people don't realize that we didn't have the same start that some of these people had. You know, we don't know our identity. We can't go back to our great grandfather. And as much as we want to depend on ancestry.com, I mean, we still really don't know, because a lot of that stuff was lost. They didn't bring birth certificates over on the boats that they took us from. You know, they didn't do any of that. So how do we know? I listen to some of my friends and they can tell me who their great grandfather is, and then they have pictures of him. Oh, he was from Sicily or he was from Italy. We're still trying to find ourselves.
Going back to our children, I know we have younger children, but like, what can we, is there anything that, like, what are the conversations again, like, that you really have with your children? And what efforts are you really, do you think it's enough? The conversation that you're having with them, how you're raising them, do you think it is enough?
I don't think it's ever going to be enough. Honestly, the most you can do is try to do whatever you can to try to keep them safe. Like with my son, he is in that preteen stage and he'll be 13 this year. And I'm trying to do my best as a single mom to try to guide him in the way where he can be safe and make good decisions, because like I told him, with everything happening, I'll show him. If I see something like on social media, I'll be like, Jabari, look at this. Like even there was a recent event where a boy drowned, just off, fooling up with his friends, off of a dare. And I'll show him anything. I haven't showed him this recent cop video, but I do plan to, just so I can just kind of let him know how the world is now and how he needs to be careful and be mindful. And it's a heartbreaking conversation. Like, just thinking about it, it's heartbreaking that we have to have these conversations to say, look, I understand you are in the peak of your life as a teenager. You're supposed to be enjoying life, but let me tell you all the things you need to be cautious about.
Right.
And I'm sorry.
Like, instead of, the conversation that they may be having, we should be spending more time teaching them how to budget, how to invest, how to, develop your gifts, talents, and abilities and all of that stuff, how to be successful. But we have the burden of drilling in them.
My son, he gets tired of me repeating the same thing over and over again. He be like, I know, Mom, I know. But do you really know? So I know I repeat myself over and over again, but I want him to know what I'm saying, I mean it. You got to be careful out here. And like I said, like I was at this point. Now he's driving, and like I was like, okay, the world's being kind of calm. I'm like, okay, cool. Now all this is up, but now my anxiety level is up. But like I tell him, you can't do this, you can't do that. And he was like, I know, but you just got to keep talking to your child over and over again. You may be sounding like I say, repeating yourself, but you keep talking to them. Trust me, they're listening. And I know he's listening because other people tell me they can tell that I'm raising him right. So like I said, just talk to him. Just be blunt with him out there. You can go out there and mess up your life if you want to. Bring in a baby. Guess what? Mama ain't taking care of it. Ain't no college. You ain't playing no basketball. Point blank. That's how you just have to lay it on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And contrary to popular belief, there are a lot of like great Black men and boys out here. We have a lot of, I think, support. I'm a single parent, but my kid's dad, is very supportive. And I just want to give them their just due, because society sometimes doesn't do that. They always say that, our men are broken and our boys are not well trained or well mannered, and we know that's not the case. That's not the case. My son has friends from all different walks of life, and he is well mannered, because when he goes to his friend's house, they talk about how mannerable he is. So I think I just want, I guess, maybe to try to see more positivity coming from our community about, we have educated Black men, we have responsible Black men. We have well-mannered Black boys. If we start promoting that, maybe, the narrative might change.
So as far as the rioting goes, do you feel like that was necessary?
I don't know. I understand it. I don't agree with it, you know. But they just, they just want their voice to be heard. They're fed up, tired. We tried, the silent protest, and so people are just tired. So I understand it.
Right.
I
I
don't
would
think it's
be
going to
out
do
there,
anything.
but
Mhm.
I agree. I agree that at some point in time, if you just keep poking and poking the bear, they're
Yeah.
Yeah.
gonna come after you. And um, the bad thing about what just happened is that there were two other cases before this within the same time, like almost
Right.
3 weeks
I
within
mentioned
each
that.
other. The lady that got shot, the couple that was in their own home, and she
Mhm.
got shot to death, and he was put in jail because he shot at a police officer, but come to when everything unfolded, they were at the wrong house and he was trying to just
Yeah.
protect his house. Imagine you're sleeping
Mm-hmm.
and at home, you haven't done anything wrong. You wouldn't think the
Mhm.
police would be, just barging into your home. So I think because of the timing and because everything just kept happening back to back, like people are exhausted,
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally exhausted. And at some point in time, people just are tired of being tired. It's like we've tried the kneeling, we've tried to reason with other people. And even with that, like I
Yep.
got so tired of explaining, like it's not, no one is disrespecting the flag. We're not trying to
Mhm.
disrespect, the servicemen and women who fought for us. But we're just trying to bring awareness, things are happening and people are going about their everyday lives as if nothing is happening to us,
Mhm.
so it's just a cry for help. And what happens when your kids are crying for help and you don't show them attention, they start showing out. So
Right.
now I think we're just
Right.
showing out.
right.
Mhm.
And it's not even,
Yeah, I don't
and the
even
thing
think.
about it is, it's not only us.
Right, right.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
That's
not
true.
only us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There's
that
a
says a lot. And
Yep.
I actually appreciate the ones who do step in. I mean, not in, saying that they had to riot, but I really appreciate people who are stepping in
Mhm.
and acknowledging it's wrong. And then now you have people who are scared to say anything because of their job. They're scared to step on any other friends' toes. And that's one of my things, because I don't post everything that I agree with. Like, there's
Mhm.
a lot of posts
Right.
that I see, and I try not to share it because I don't want to start an altercation on my post. I don't like
Mhm.
Right.
altercation like that.
Yeah.
So I don't want this person to say that and it
Mm-hmm.
starts a whole argument and everything, even though it's needed. Sometimes debates are needed.
Right.
Yeah.
I finally did share something today where they had all the names, and it was deep. It was just saying how tired we were. So
And that's a big burden to kind of hold too, because it's like you have so much that you want to say, and I'm right along there with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I just started sharing stuff because it's helping me to heal.
Right. Yeah.
um because I feel very, very, for some reason, I don't know why this particular incident, and like I think it's because of what I said earlier, because so much stuff has happened in
Mhm.
the past couple of weeks. Like I really, really have felt like emotionally kind of bogged down, and it's almost kind of like
drained.
Mhm.
I want to say something. I don't know what I want to say. I don't want to do a live and start getting really
Right.
emotional and cry, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like I need to say something. I feel like I don't need to be quiet. But then again, like I want to be respectful. I want it to be
Right.
thoughtful. I want it
Thought.
to
Right.
mean something when
Yeah.
I actually say it. So I'm just like, I feel like
Right.
I want to speak on it, but I'm kind of reserved because I want to make sure that when I do, that I'm actually saying something of substance. And it's not
Right.
just
Right.
me, speaking out of just pure emotion.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
with you there,
Exactly.
because I'm
Yeah.
usually silent too, but I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Right.
Like I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
had to say something, But
Right.
you just let the
Yeah.
other ones, let those who want to debate, that's what they're good at, that's what
Right.
they want
Right.
to do, go ahead,
That's one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, we need to go ahead and do this because we
Yeah.
need to at least, let people know how we feel about it.
Yeah, and how afraid we are for
Man,
our
we don't
children.
have to
Yeah.
sit here and lash out and call you and point fingers. We don't have to do all that. It's a way to do things now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you said, other things bothered me, but for some reason, this one bothered me the most. And then I looked at first, I wouldn't look at the video. I refused.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I finally did. And what bothered me the most was he kept adjusting his knee. Anytime it would get out of place, he would move it again, put it right in place. Even after the paramedics got here, after the man stopped moving, you hear the people pleading him, check his pulse, and no emotion. Even the other officer that was standing there trying to guard him, he wasn't even trying to check. And then when the paramedic got there, he moved his knee enough for the paramedic to check the pulse. When the paramedic moved, he put his knee back in the place and kept it there until they put him on the gurney. And I was like, he did that on purpose. You can convince me otherwise that he was there to kill that man.
Yeah.
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 Like they treat animals better than that.
Right.
What if
it was a dog, that man would have been. I mean,
right.
Action now, but it's like he literally acted as though that man was not saying, "I can't, bro." Okay.
Not only that, the man was in handcuffs, and
he was in handcuffs.
He was already,
right.
There were other men, grown men, like 2 other men that were alongside him. So it wasn't like he couldn't control them or, with those 2 other help. So what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Why did you do that? And it was almost kind of like, when you look at that man, you just see evil. Like the whole time I was like, this man, that man is evil.
Yeah, it's like a one of those sci-fi law shows or whatever that Ryan watches. Like it's like I'm watching an episode of one of those and like it's just so unreal. Like, are these people being drugged with stuff? I mean, I almost feel like it's a setup. Just to intentionally, just go after someone like that. He just over a forge with a check? You have to go that far. It seems like, something in the background.
All of it is always
being set up. You know what I'm saying? It don't even seem real.
Yeah. Well, what is it that are making these people fear? My thought process is that it is fear that is making these people fear. Like it is, they know that we have been oppressed. They know that we have, and I'm going to say the word oppression because anytime a person, we've had our own, we've had Black Wall Street, we had all those things. But every time it seems like we get our own, they come along, they burn it down.
Yeah.
When you feel like you're getting ahead, it's like, nope, wait a minute, where's your praise? Take steps back, right? So I'm gonna call it oppression. I feel like the fear is that maybe we will rise up or something. Are you're afraid that we are going to retaliate? But we're not. That's what I'm saying.
It's like we just want our place in society. We want to succeed. We're not after anything that you have.
Right.
And it's like they're constantly attacking us.
Right.
So I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know. I know a lot of us have discussed that we have friends of every different kind of like background. I just challenge us, to speak to our friends in those backgrounds, like different backgrounds, when they say how they can help. Like I said, just tell them to talk to their kids and let them know that, you need to treat everyone the same. I mean, we always preach to our kids, don't see color and treat people the same, but are they preaching that to their kids? Are different ethnic backgrounds and different races preaching see everybody the same? It doesn't.
But if they don't see it themselves, or like I'm pretty sure the ones who don't see color themselves, probably teach their kids the same. But the problem is the ones who don't,
Yeah.
the ones who do see a problem. How do we stop them from poisoning their kids? Because like you said, it's something you're taught. And I dealt with that because I went to a predominantly white school with mixture. And we had no problem, but I did have one particular boy who would always say something about me being black, calling me buckwheat and all
was
kinds
always
of stuff.
one.
It was always that one, and I'm like, why are you this way? And it starts at home. And even with one of the ladies who did post and called us monkeys in reference to the George Taylor thing, and one of her cousins said, this is sickening, and I'm embarrassed to even say you're my cousin right now because of that comment. She stood up. She didn't agree with her cousin. So I mean, it's not even about the people who are raising their kids the right way. It's like how we handle the ones that don't. And I know me and my mouth, and I know my temper. You come at me the wrong way, I'm gonna lash out. I mean, I might seem nice sometimes, but
that's with anyone, black or white.
You want to call me a monkey, like you said, you call me a monkey. I'm gonna show you a monkey. I'm gonna show my.
I'm gonna be an animal
monkey,
and she will, y'all.
We can. So I'm gonna show my tail. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, like. I mean, really. I mean, what do you expect? Right. And I mean, I think that's what they want. Of course, they say, most people do things because they want a reaction out of you.
Yeah. And that's what I say a lot too. So I'm like,
you can't turn the other cheek, but so many times.
Yeah, but so many times. Yeah.
You tap dance on that one nerve enough.
Right.
I mean, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I think it will. I'm hoping that it will start with our children. The change, us. I think as parents, we're responsible for teaching them those principles, so they can maybe possibly bring the change. They're still young, and we still able to influence them and teach them. Especially at a young age, there's you can still kind of mold and shape them. So, that's my goal, and that's what I'm working so hard on. Even though my children may think I am like one of the strictest parents, and I may be soft spoken and everything, but I don't play with them. It's just because I have to, because. I have to ease my fear, the
world's not gonna give them any leeway. You're absolutely right. So I actually do see a little bit of change. I do, even in the reaction of other people, because now I think it was Will Smith that said, racism hasn't gotten worse. It's just being recorded, or it's being, televised.
That's true.
So before, when people, we would say these things, I don't think people would quite understand where we were coming from. But now when you have a visual in front of you and you can actually see it, you can actually hear the cries, you can actually, see them going through the motions of that man's face being so evil. Like that was just that man was.
I don't even think that was fear. I don't think that was fear.
That was
he did not
that was
even
straight
care. Most cops would have got up like, oh no, you're not about to have me on social media. He did not care.
He didn't care.
Not even.
And I believe a lot of them isn't. I don't believe all of it is fear.
No, it's not. No.
I don't.
It was a power
excuse. Trip. Yeah.
It was a power trip. It was, but. Like I said, I think hopefully within our kids' generation, that thing will turn around, because now it's almost kind of like, even with the guy that was in the park, the lady that was that had her dog. If she would have made that call, the cops would have came. They would have believed that this man was really attacking her, But now we saw it. It was recorded live. She lied. They lied.
Yep.
It's a lot of situations. I'm not gonna keep saying they, because it's not, it's not everybody. I don't want anyone to think that I'm
that we're targeting, right?
But it's like different situations that have happened where you can see people have lied on. A lot of our men and boys and us, saying
even dating way back.
Take us back to Emmett Till, where the lady lied on, him.
And at
Damn.
the end of her days, she finally confessed that
Right.
that was a lie, and that man
Mm.
and that boy's life got taken away, and it's sad,
Whew.
you know. So I mean, you're looking
Mhm.
at all these circumstances where this
Like,
man,
yep.
I think
Mhm.
that that's shedding a different light too, where these people are not criminals. These people are not
Mhm.
always doing what people say that they're doing. People are putting this on this group of
Okay.
people, because we have already been labeled that.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
easy to say that we are that before we even get a trial, and that's
Right.
sad. You're judged before you even get a chance to tell your story, and that's not
Mhm.
fair. It's
Mhm.
not
Right.
fair at all.
It's not.
So, but I think slowly but surely, people are starting to see that
Yeah.
you can't do that any
You
longer.
can't. Yeah.
You
You
cannot.
definitely can't. Yeah. So hopefully, our children will, it will be the beginning of a change, through them.
Yeah.
We need to
Um,
become united. We're the
yeah.
United States, but we
Yeah.
are far
And
from it. We're
and
probably the
that's what
most
and that's our responsibility. Yeah.
yeah.
Just to teach them,
Right.
to stand
United. Yeah.
together, you know, be,
We're going to do
teach
like
them
a
their history, teach them where they came from, just build that confidence in them, so
Mhm.
they
you
won't just, Go
we're gonna
ahead.
have to pray for our kids too.
Oh,
Like we're gonna
definitely. I
have
was
to
gonna
do
Yep.
like
bring
our
that up.
grandparents did and
Yeah.
pray and
Every day.
Yeah, I was
Every
gonna bring
single
that
day.
up because
pray.
it's like if you can teach them all of that, and we can see that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So the only thing that keeps
Yep.
me sane and not living
Prayer.
in fear every day
It's
is the
prayer.
fact that I pray over them, and I have to
Mhm.
believe that God has them, and that's what keeps me. That's what that keeps me sending them to school, because that was a huge fear there. My second child, he's very
Yeah.
emotional. He's very outgoing, but he's very emotional. He's passionate, and he draws a lot of attention. And he just had this. He had to learn how to control his emotions, his anger. Sometimes, he doesn't like really. He's not really aggressive, but he's very emotional. He'll cry and just get very dramatic.
Mhm.
And so that was one thing I drilled into him before they started school. And it got to the point, and it was all out of fear. And I had to look at myself because it got to the point where I was being so strict about it, like toughen up, you gotta, stop doing all that crying, and they're not gonna, you go to school and you're gonna get picked up. And I had to look back at myself and be like, this may not be the way to
Yeah.
to go. So let me just, love on him.
I mean, I also thought about,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, sometimes like having to enroll your kids into some kind of self-defense class so that
Yeah,
they know
and
how
that,
to
and yeah,
defend
that's
themselves in
important.
certain circumstances. Yeah, you can
But
so-called
at the
teach them how
same
to
time,
fight, but
what,
I would like for them to be
yeah,
I just think of that too. Like, okay,
yeah.
sometimes if you're pinned down like that, you need to know how to. I just think
Yeah, and I agree
all.
totally. But how are they going to take that? You know what I'm saying? That may not end well in certain, I still agree that they should have, some type
Right.
of self-defense,
But they
course, and
teach
learn
they
how to
teach them
take up
that
for
though.
themselves. But, in situations like
Yeah.
this, it still may not end well.
What do you think
So,
it would take for people to see that um things like this like need to end? Like, what do you think? I mean, there's been countless murders, countless killings, countless protests. What do you think would wake or shake the masses to say enough is enough? Do you think that this is the point that we've come to? Do you think that we have come to that point where we're saying enough is enough, and something's going to turn around now? Because I mean, there has to be some type of revolution in order to cross over to the other side where people understand that we are all equal.
Right.
yeah.
We're here. We're dope individuals, and either you can get with it or
I don't want to be pessimistic about it, but
right. But to
we've
be
been
honest,
trying for hundreds of years.
for hundreds
Yeah.
of years, like
Right.
I remember my mom telling us, she was a senior in high school when they integrated the schools,
Yeah,
and you
and they
remember
was,
she was saying how she
yeah,
had to fight every day because they did not want her there. They did not want them there. And it's like, this is why it's such a race issue, even though we try not to make it about race, but this is why, because we've had so much hostility throughout the years, and yet some people, like some of us still are able to love all. Some of us are able to still separate the good from the bad, individuals and everything. But this is why it's a race issue, because this is what we deal with every day when we step outside and we have to get looks in the stores, or you know, when it comes certain ways. You know, if I go to the store, my kids, they're automatically looking, and you know, people are automatically looking at your kids. I'm like, take your hands out your pocket. Don't touch anything. You have, that's why we have to have,
you know, right.
kids, don't
and they're like, well,
don't touch
she's,
nothing, don't look at nothing,
exactly. We have to
this
do
is
that.
why we do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But
You can't take your hat off, you know, when you go in the store and, well, they're doing this, and I've had at my children. You can't do that. I'm sorry.
Can't do what they doing.
Right.
And you know, me with 4 boys, I get all the eyes, you know, and so I have to be like, look, you know, let's go in here, you know, and you act right. So yeah.
Well, my perspective is that we've always came from a place of love, honestly. And I think that we actually did not create racism, so we can't be the ones to actually end it. It has to be the people that created this system to tell their people that to stop. You know what I mean? We have to tell our friends to tell their friends to you know, to say this is unacceptable. So until we get, you know, on one accord with that, I think things will keep repeating themselves.
Yeah, they have to want to do it, you know. They have to
Right.
want to do it.
And it's gonna have to be more.
And like I said, we have to
just
teach our, you know, we have to. It starts at home too. We have to teach the next generation, you know, how to do better. And like Joya said, you know, we have to tell our friends and just pray and hope that they have the desire to want to teach
like
their children
just
too.
keep speaking out on our behalf. I understand, you know, you might, you know, share a post or two. You might tell people, you know, no, this is my friend. I actually love, you know, everyone and everything, but it's got to be a repetition thing. And I do appreciate the ones that do repeatedly say so. Because like I said, a lot of my friends, I appreciate every one of them.
And we have friends who,
and they stand up for us. I appreciate every one of them. And like most of I have like super close friends that are white, and we had this discussion this week, and she was like, yeah, even though we'll joke about, you know, black, white, we don't, not in a negative way, we don't see that. My daughter will play with her daughter, and it's, you know, and it's not even just, I mean, it's just so much of discrimination when it comes to everything in life, not only race, sex,
not only race,
it's, you know, if you know, even when it comes to sexuality, anything, even religious beliefs, it's like everything
you got it.
is nitpick on.
You got
and
it.
it's like, when does all of this stop? Like, it has to be some kind of common ground where we can say, yeah, we may be different in a different way, in a lot of ways, but I still love you. I still respect you. I may not support your decisions in life or support everything you do, but at the end of the day, we know how to put our differences aside. We can still be friends, and we can still, you know, have common ground, and, you know, we can work together. We can laugh together.
And I don't know if this is going to make the video, but you know, the churches play a big part too. And I see a huge divide in that. You know, you can't even, you know, church is a place where you go to receive healing, to receive, you know, hurt people go there. And they, you know, that's the only place they get judged the most, or get talked down to, or, you know, I don't know. I think that that plays a huge part too. But there's such a, you know, a huge division there.
Well, the community used to help. The community used to be a part of that. We have lost sense of community too, because I remember when I grew up, like, my neighbors watched out for my mom's house. You know, when we were like latchkey kids, because our middle school was literally like down the street from my house. So we would walk home and we would go across the street, get the key from my neighbor, come back, open the door to go take the key back across the street. Because for one, that's notifying, hey, we're home. And the So she went and she sat on her porch and just watched the house until my mom came home, like 30 minutes later or an hour later, or however long. But I can't say that I would be comfortable do
Doing
that
that now.
now, because while I know my neighbors that live beside me, I don't know my neighbor across the street. I don't know my most of the kids in the community, they barely come out like that anymore. I don't
Right.
know them like that. So I think we've lost sense of community. And because of that, I think like the church is our community as well. They've lost sense of community too, because the church used to feed the people in the community. They used to come in and have services
Right.
like that, and I don't see that anymore.
Yeah, I don't see that either. I see a lot of political
I do.
debates,
Yep.
a lot of that. Like I said, a lot of just judging and not welcoming, not doing what, Christ said to do.
Even when you say
It's
with
to
the
love.
political views, a lot of that separates too.
Yes.
It's been a lot of separation over political
Yeah.
views. That's why I don't even discuss
Don't
mine.
even, because I'm like, I
Because
don't
it's
even
like,
know
I don't
some
want
people
you
that
to
I
view
thought
me
I knew.
different because I believe different than you, and
Yeah.
that's even within the race, outside of the race.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's just a messy subject, and I've seen a lot of friendships, relationships, everything break off of just the simple fact of something like that. And it's okay to think what you feel, whatever. Just keep it to yourself. Or if you want to discuss it, make sure you're discussing it with a mature level.
Right.
It's taken away of what really matters.
Right.
It really takes away from all of that.
A lot of people, because a lot of people have turned this event into a political issue and
Oh,
said
yeah.
what they wanted to say.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
everything is
we're getting so distracted.
Yep. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
a
think that's
distraction.
where they, I think that's planned too, but and it's just taken away from what really matters.
Right. You see people here dropping dead over this whole COVID situation. You would think that would make people come closer and be like,
no, but there's a divide. There was a divide in that,
Life is short.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Did y'all see the Donald Trump's tweet?
No.
I saw it. That was ridiculous.
It's pretty much calling the Minneapolis rioters, thugs, as opposed to what he was saying with the other rioters.
When he was like,
these good people,
all good men.
They're all good men,
sides.
and let's just talk and work it out with them. But
we're talking about the same guy that told people to inject themselves with bleach.
Right. And that's a whole another subject for another day.
Well, thank you so much for the invite. This was fun. It's nice meeting you guys. Seeing you guys again, some of you again.
It was.
Yeah, it was cool. We're gonna have a lot more, discussions and everything. That's Ryan's goal.